So let me ask from Telecom. I think M1 was, I think, in a very early stage actually moving to an SDP, and the whole idea is from a Telco App Stores to maximize the usage of network assets to generate revenue. Here, the model is to offer apps that customers will create traffic on the network all the time. So richer apps which included SMS, MMS, USSD, charging, location-based, that's something that needs to be brought into, so that you see not only just one-off applications, but more richer applications. What has been, the M1's thought, or what is your thought on that area? How developers can, as well as the consumers, can benefit of it?
If you look at the revenue that an operator is making today, majority of it, which is still revenue generation, is basically back to the basics, where you have voice, SMS, and MMS. Data, though it is revenue generating, the problem with it is that many of the operators, including M1, is doing a package deal where it is capped at a certain price, or use whatever you can at a certain price as well. So as such, if you think about it, third party which is sitting in the internet space is taking advantage of all this. Most of the time when an operator thinks about App Store, or anybody think about App Store, thinks of Apple, thinks about the Google Marketplace and so on. So as such, when a customer downloads an application from all these stores, effectively, if the customer is on a package, data package, he doesn't get much out of it at all. Or rather, the operator doesn't get much of it at all. So if you go back to the basics where we started from as an operator, we earn our revenue through MMS, SMS, and voice. So what we did from very beginning was that we have an SDP, but the SDP is primarily designed or primarily used for messaging, event-based or messaging, where we have applications which are pretty much silo-based. An application could be connecting to the SMSCs, MMSC respectively. But that makes application developers having difficulty in developing their stuff, because they need to understand each one of the variety of protocols that is available in the network capability area. So what we did was that we migrated most of all the services into an SDP, where we have a common interface to application developers, where they could use a common internet variant of the development kit for themselves, so that they do not need to know what the network has anymore. All they need to know is like Web 2.0 or a set of WSDL for the development. So in such, we enable, or rather we enable and open and expose the interface from the network to developers, so that they can easily develop stuff on the internet, and as such develop applications on it as well. But the applications that they're developing is different from what Apple has or what Google has. The application they develop has got a flavor with the network as well. Like example, as SMS back again to messaging. So whatever they do has an implication to our network, and as such, as an operator, we could have recurring revenue out of all these barriers as well.
I think that's actually a great point, because what the whole idea here is, how do operators have a recurring revenue? Whether it's, so you are actually using your network assets as an operator, you are sitting on a very, very rich set of assets, from your network capabilities to even, customer profiling, because you actually can see, and actually look at your customer segmentation, so that you can even, these application providers can have a certain access into these APIs, that they can actually build very focused, segmented groups.
And Dinesh, I think more importantly also, how do this gives you the opportunity to take revenue from that customer on his full lifetime. Now, we saw this in research in Sri Lanka, but confirmed by the Open Cloud research data that was there. consumers, as they go, they download, and then subsequently they say, next month I'm not going to download anymore. I'm going to free downloads only. So you find that suddenly their interest in these downloads wean off, and they also stop paying. So you may suddenly find a customer who was downloading a reasonable amount of apps initially start saying, I've had enough. But if you do have apps that give you some interesting information or something like that, which continues to use the network assets, you end up getting more revenue out of the customer throughout his lifetime, and that's the trick. And as I told, I think if you were there in the morning, first panel I said, we were looking at apps which are very small, very simple, but needed by the consumer on a daily basis. So that makes him use it. That's the trick.
So let me ask a question from Smart. I think your colleague presented the WAC initiative. I think WAC itself is also trying to do this similar thing, because they also saw that challenge that was faced by the some of these traditional or over-the-top app stores like Apple and Google and that, and say, okay, how we want to bring some of that revenue into this particular WAC initiative, so that as operators, now you have your operator billing, plus you also have ability to download this application. In that light, Mitch, what do you think from Smart perspective? Now, are you also seeing that you're going to have a reducing revenues for these over-the-top apps, or is WAC one of your strategies to look at that, to mitigate that?
Well, for us in Smart, it's a bit different, right? So today, the Apple App Store is something that we all sort of aspire for, but we have the luxury of time in the emerging markets, since one, the Apple device is very expensive. Two, a lot of our users do not have credit cards. So today we see a lot of sort of new to the App Store environment in the Philippines. We have the ability to actually be the App Store, the first App Store for most users in the Philippines. So that's one thing. So the initiative for WAC is actually bringing sort of a lot of a community of developers worldwide into the Philippines as well, and having that initiative. So within the telco assets, we have one settlement, something which the Apple App Store or the Android marketplace does not have today. Two, we own the customer profile, all the transactions within the network. So bridging that and having our own sort of community of developers plus the worldwide developer community, we should have something to offer to our users, both on the legacy device and on smartphones. So we're looking at bringing in smartphones which are sub $100 for users, and that's something that, coupled with the right apps, should sort of increase revenue end-to-end for the operator.
Fantastic. I think that's. I think you put it very right. The whole operator billing becomes really a key aspect of this whole thing, because that's something that the other over-the-top app stores are not able to